my name is Vaishali Deshwal, and currently I'm working as an assistant professor at AKGEC Ghaziabad. So today we'll discuss Unit 1 of PME. PME stands for Project Management and Entrepreneurship, and the code for the subject is KHU 809. So these are some of the content which we will discuss in this session. So first is the definition or the different definitions of entrepreneurship given by several researchers. Then what are the need and the scope of this particular concept, and some competencies and traits of the entrepreneur. What are the factors which can affect the entrepreneurial development and the motivation? There are several theories behind the entrepreneurial motivation. One of them is the Mackland motivation theory. So we'll discuss that because it's in the syllabus. Then the rest of the contents are conceptual model of entrepreneurship and entrepreneur and intrapreneur. So what is the basic difference between these two terminologies? Although they are very similar to each other, entrepreneur and intrapreneur. So we'll see that what are the difference between these entrepreneur and intrapreneur, and entrepreneurship and intrapreneurship. Then the classification of the entrepreneurs on the basis of different factors. It can be the size of the entrepreneur, or it can be anything. So on the basis of several factors, we will just classify the entrepreneurship. Then the last is EDPs, and these are the very important programs launched by several governments. So government of the several countries. So in these programs, we'll discuss some schemes. For example, you can cite Stand Up India or Startup India and many more related to the farming or some entrepreneurship in order to promote the entrepreneurship in the country. So this is actually the syllabus of Unit 1 for PME, and today we'll discuss some topics of Unit 1. So let's start. So these are some basic definitions of an entrepreneur, that how will you define an entrepreneur. So we can say that it's considered as a person who sets up his own business or industry. So it's a very basic definition by which you can just define a person entrepreneur. So he must have the drive or skill or the initiative. You can say these are some of the characteristics of a person who wants to be an entrepreneur. So the skill, the drive and the motivation and the spirit of the innovation who aims at the high goals. So this is the very basic definition by which you can just start. So the other way in which you can define is that he is an individual that identifies the opportunity and gathers the necessary resources which he requires in order to convert all those raw resources or the raw material into a product by which he can make capital. So they are the action-oriented, highly motivated individuals who take risk to achieve the goals and they play indispensable role in the economic development of the country. So all these things we'll discuss with the help of examples in the EDPs. Okay. So these are some researchers, for example, Richard Catalan and Adam Smith. So these are some researchers and they have given some definitions of entrepreneur. So Richard says that he defines this terminology as a person who pays a certain price to a product to resell it as a certain price in order to make some profit, and thereby making decisions about obtaining and using the resources while consequently admitting the risk of the enterprise. So obviously there are some pros and cons of being an entrepreneur and of setting up an enterprise. So we'll definitely consider this thing, or an entrepreneur must be capable of taking the calculated risk whenever he is going to set up or make any decision regarding the enterprise. Now, according to Adam Smith, he defined this terminology as a person who undertakes the formulation of organization for commercial purposes by recognizing the potential demand for the goods and the services, and thereby acts as a economic agents and transform the demand into supply. So the main motive on which he is focusing is the conversion of the demand into the supply in order to make some profit of the capital. Then, according to Peter, he says that an entrepreneur is the one who always searches for changes and respond to it and exploit it as an opportunity. So basically, he is talking about the conversion of the raw material into opportunity, a product, finally a product, you can say. So a professional manager who mobilizes the resources and allocate them to make commercial gain from that opportunity is the entrepreneur, according to him, Peter Drucker. Then next is the Francis. He is one of the researcher, and he defined this terminology beautifully, as he says that he is a person, entrepreneur is a person who is endowed with more than average capacities in task of organizing and coordinating the various other factors of the production, and he should be a capital leader of the industry. So he identifies some of the characteristics or the skills of a person, that these characteristics they should be in a person in order to be an entrepreneur. Next, some more definitions. So for the researcher Joseph says that entrepreneur is an innovator who carries out the new combinations to initiate the process of the economic development through the introduction of the new products. And according to him, this process of the development is the continuous phenomena, or it's very careful. One should handle it with deliberately or carefully in order to be actively promoted by the services of the change agent who provide the economic leader to the country. Next is, you can just summarize all the definitions of entrepreneurship. So you can say that entrepreneurship may be defined as a systematic innovation. There should be a procedure of setting up an enterprise, and which consists of a purposeful and organized search for changes and the systematic analysis of the opportunities such that those changes might offer the economic and the social transformation for the country. So in this way, you can just summarize or you can make your own definition, conclude your whatever you have gained from the definition given by the different researchers. So next topic is the evolution, or you can say the history of the entrepreneurs. So the evolution in this, we'll see that where this concept came from actually. So in the ancient India, I'll talk about this concept in the ancient India, then in the pre-independence, and then during 1850 to 1947. So we have just divided the history into the different phases, or you can say the periods. So first one is the period 1, or the phase 1. It defines the entrepreneurship in the ancient period. So in ancient period, there were some texts called Dharma and Manusmriti, and these texts, they provide some instances of the entrepreneurship. So these were the enterprises that time. For example, the agriculture is there, then handicraft, iron, cloth, and livestock. Then the phase 2 covers the entrepreneurship in pre-independence era before 1850. So the domination over all these activities. Okay, so we are here and we are discussing period or the phase 2 of entrepreneurship. So in this phase, we'll talk about the entrepreneurship in pre-independence era before 1850. So these were the activities related to the entrepreneurship. Agriculture was there, then metalwork, handicraft, stone carving, and jewelry designing. And over all these activities, Parsis and Gujaratis, Jains, they have domination over these enterprises. Then phase 3. In this, we'll talk about all the activities, the domination of the different castes over those activities during 1850 to 1947. So Britishers were there and they started harnessing the natural resources of India. They take the raw material from India convert it into the product which is of high uh, quality, or you can say sold at the higher prices in order to make the profit. So they just harnessing the natural resources of India to their own advantage and developing the roads, ports, etc. So the major activities is going on during that period related to jute, textile, tea, coal, etc. And again, there was a domination of the several castes, including the Parsis entrepreneurs, and there were several movements related to this. For example, one of the movement is the Swadeshi movement, in which the focus was on the Swadesh products, whatever products which are in make in India only. So people used to buy all those Swadesh product, and there the focus was on boycott on the foreign goods. Next is the phase fourth, and in this phase we consider the period from 1947 onwards, the post independence. So there were several policies uh, made by the government of India. First is the Industrial Policy Resolution 1948. Then there were some amendments in this resolution, and again it was renamed as the IPR 1956. So in these period, different castes, for example Marwari, such as Birlas, Dalmias and Singhanias, rising. And after 1956, there was the establishment of the public sector in the heavy industries related to the iron and coal. Then there was the nationalization. Banks were nationalized. Nationalized means that the government, they have they've taken those banks under their control. Then the formation of the different corporation. First corporation is the NSI, that is the National Small Industry Corporation. Then Khadi and Village Industry Corporation, MSME, and there were different programs. And nowadays also there are different programs related to upgrade or motivate the MSME enterprises. Then SFC, that is a state funding corporation. Then National Institute for Entrepreneurship and the Small Business Development. Then Entrepreneurship Development Institute of India. So in this you just need to remember that what are the activities is, and policies, the resolutions given by the government in order to enhance the entrepreneurship concept. Okay, and rising family entrepreneurship is also a part of this phase. Okay, so in this we'll understand the evolution of the entrepreneur in the different years. In 1600, for example, there was this term, that is the entrepreneur. So it's a French verb which means to undertake, from where this terminology entrepreneur arises. Then the Middle Age. In the Middle Age, the actors and the person in charge of the large scale production projects related to the iron and the coal. In 1700, person bearing risk and the profit in the fixed price contract. Then in 1725, there was this person, Richard, and he gave this definition of the entrepreneur. He says that a person bearing risk is different from the capital supplier, means the risk bearer. So a person, the entrepreneur, is something different from the risk bearer. He's just not a risk bearer. He is more than that. Then in 1803, we have this researcher Jean, and he gave his own definition. He explains that there is a shifts the economic resources. A person who is described as the entrepreneur, he shifts the economic resources out from an area of the lower to higher productivity or the greater aids in order to make the profit. Then again, there were some more researchers who gave some definitions. In 1876, Francis described this concept as distinguish between those who supplied the funds and received the interest and those who received profit from the managerial capabilities. In 1934, again, Joseph has given some definition, 1961 and 1964. So, whenever we talk about the evolution and the history of the entrepreneurship, you need to remember the different phases, the different projects, and the policies launched in that period. What are some of the famous movements? For example, the Swadeshi movement was there. There were many more. So, you need to just remember all those and describe those. Next is some more definitions. For example, in 1979, Kirchner described it as the person who discovers the opportunity as lower price and sell it at the higher price because of intertemporal and interspatial demand. So it was something focused on demand. Then in 1980, there was a researcher, Carl, and he described entrepreneur as that is a person seen differently by economist, businessman, in the environment, and it include everything. Then in 1983, Gifford described it as an entrepreneur, entrepreneur within an already established organization. So this is a concept in unit 1, that what is the entrepreneur and what is the entrepreneur, and there is a difference between these two terminologies and the two concepts, entrepreneurship and the entrepreneurship. So entrepreneurship, you can just define it as entrepreneurship within an already established organization, and obviously if this is the definition, then we can say that in the entrepreneurship the risk is low in comparison to the entrepreneurship. Okay, so some more definitions are there in 1985 and 2008. So I don't think that we need to discuss all these definitions. Just remember some and you can skip some of the definitions, obviously. Then there are some motivation. There is some motivation of being an entrepreneur. So what are the benefits or the advantages of being an entrepreneur? Is a person has the opportunity to create one's own destiny, to make some differences by establishing the enterprises, and to reach one full potential, to reap the impressive profits, make capital, to contribute society in the different ways, or generating the revenues, providing jobs to different people, to do what one enjoys to do. Okay, so these are some of the points you can mention in the motivation part. Next, what are the some pros and cons of being an entrepreneur? So let's discuss the benefits first, that you are the boss. All the profits, similarly, if you are the boss, then you have to, or one has to bear all the losses. So in benefit, all the profits are yours. There will be great variety in the role and the task. It will increase the self-confidence, and work can be very satisfying also. So in benefit, you can focus on the satisfaction. While on the contrary side, if we discuss some of the disadvantages, then on the contrary side, if you are the boss, then you're alone also in the decision making and in everything. Whenever there is a loss, then you are also alone. So all the decisions are yours and all the losses are yours, and then you will need to put in for the long hours, hard work, you can say. Then lack of success sometimes, and exiting the business is quite difficult. Then now this is a terminology, enterprise, or you can say industry. There are the several similar terminologies. So you can define this terminology as entrepreneur is an actor and entrepreneurship is the act, and the outcome of the actor and the actor is the enterprise. So the enterprise is the business organization. This is a different name, or you can say there are several similar terminologies related to the enterprise. So you can simply say that it's a business organization that is formed and which provides goods and services, create jobs, generate the revenue, and contribute to the national income, export and contribute to the overall economic development of the country. Next, what are some characteristics of a person who wants to be an entrepreneur? So you can add many more, you can mention or write many more. So these are some basic characteristics which we are going to discuss here. First is the vision. So vision is that an entrepreneur has a dream and he visualizes the ways and means to achieve the dreams. Means a person must have the vision that what he is going to do in future. So in doing, he must visualize that what are the market's demand, whatever product he's going to make, there is a demand of that product in the market or not. Then socio-economic environment and technological environment. Whether in the technological environment, he must decide that whatever product he's trying to launch in the market, is that product technically feasible or not. Okay, so and then based on these dynamics, he must visualize a future for the business venture. Next is the knowledge. He must have the knowledge of the skills to develop that enterprise. So it's all about the technicalities of the business, be technological, operational, market, and the financial dynamic. Then third is the desire to succeed. So an entrepreneur must have the desire to succeed in the life. Obviously, there will be some challenges, but he has to overcome all those. And their dreams are not just limited to achieving one single goal. They should constantly pursue the small goals in order to reach the higher one. Okay, so some more characteristics. The next characteristic is the independence. So the entrepreneur needs the independence in working and the decision making. They don't follow the rules of the thumb. Means they must has the skill of decision making. Then fifth is the optimism about achieving their vision, that whatever they are thinking, they are going in the right direction. So they must be positive about it. Next is the value addition, that whatever they are going to set up in the whatever they are going to set up, it can be any enterprise related to any field. It must add value to the society. So the entrepreneurs, they do not follow the conventional rule of thumb. They must have the constant desire to introduce something new or to overcome the existing flaw in the products. Then they create and innovate and even add the value to the existing products and the services. Okay, last is the leadership. So an entrepreneur exhibit this quality of leader. They should be good planner, organizer. They must have this good communication skill, and the must be the good decision maker, take initiative in order to implement the plans, and they must be result oriented. Okay, so next is the hardworking, and then the risk taking ability. Risk taking ability is obviously the risk is the inseparable element of this concept, entrepreneurship. Okay, so a person who want to be an entrepreneur, he should have this ability. He assume the uncertainty of the future, and he must take the calculated risk. Okay, so an entrepreneur guarantees rent to the landlord and wages to the employees and interest to the investor in the hope of earning more than the expensive. So there must be a calculated risk. Okay, so these are some basic characteristics and some general characteristics also. You can add your own. For example, mental ability, clear objectives, HR ability, business, communication ability, technical knowledge, then ethical, and then motivator. There are many more. Okay, so this is it for today, and in the next session we'll discuss that what are the difference between the entrepreneur and the entrepreneurship, entrepreneurship and entrepreneurship, entrepreneur and entrepreneur, and the factors which can affect this particular concept. So this is it for today.